Hi, this is Mrs. Mormon again, and what I wanted to do was go over the syllabus for our QHW class. If you'd like to go ahead and pull that up first, that would be good, or just listen to this and then you can go ahead and pull up the syllabus in a little bit. I just wanted to go over the steps just like, and I have it in front of me, so I'll be looking at it every once in a while. But as it says here, you've got my name and what I do here in the School of Nursing. I'm an instructor and also an NCLEX coordinator, which what I do, my main goal is really to go ahead and help the students be successful in passing the NCLEX exam the first time. And I can explain more about that if I need to. My email and phone number is there, as well as my office hours. So please feel free to stop by if you'd like to, if you're on campus at some point. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and, like I said, go over the syllabus first, and then I'm going to go ahead and put just my personal video on the things, a couple of things that we were talking about last week, and we'll come to that in just a minute. It was mostly about the dimensions of health. So looking at the course description, it says basically that we're going to explore multiple meanings of health and wellness from a personal and contextual perspective. So we all have different perspectives on health and wellness. So hopefully this course will enable you to actually explore your own personal perspective of that, and then also be able to share some of the ideas with your classmates. We reflect on individual choices, short and long-term implications, and the impact that our choices have on society. And of course, it's a 2-hour course. The course learning objectives are listed there, and we're going to do a lot of different things. I'll just kind of skip over a couple of things. The multiple dimensions of health and wellness we've already discussed a little bit. We're going to develop a personal goal, as I mentioned before, with the dimensions of health and wellness. We're going to evaluate strategies we're already using to health and wellness, and the strategies towards the one dimension, as I've mentioned, explore how our personal decisions may impact society, and then reflect on those outcomes. The book, as I mentioned it last week, with the first video, is called Thrive, and I wanted to mention this. This is by Arianna Huffington, and it is a bestseller book. As I mentioned in the other video, it's a very easy, quick read. It's not dry. I mean, it will stimulate you to keep reading a little bit more about it. And obviously, if you haven't gotten it, you really need to, and start reading that book. I think you'll really enjoy it. She's the one actually that started Huffington Post, as you probably know. She has a lot of fun quotes and the personal stories. It's just not as dry. Neither is it expensive like a lot of the other textbooks that we could have gotten. Going down to the general and technology prerequisites, the main thing that I wanted you to glean from these bullet points is that we do use Microsoft Office Suite. You need to be sure and get very familiar with the online access that we have here at Queens. You must use the internet quite a bit for this course. If you have a computer webcam, that's going to be great because you will be making an introductory video, and so we can see your face, and it's a little bit more personal that way if we get a chance to actually see what you look like. The other thing is that we'll be able to willingly upload some of the videos, obviously, to YouTube. The assignment, the course evaluations are all listed there, as we've discussed already. The grading scale is a typical grading scale for Queens. The course design, basically a couple of things that's structured with you in mind. It's only a 2-hour course, so try not to make too many assignments for the 2-hour course compared to some of the other ones that you're taking that are probably 3 and 4 hours. So a lot of the assignments will blend the reading and also writing aspect of it. It encourages passive engagement in the course material. And it's a fully online course, as I've mentioned before. The netiquette, if you please read through some of those things. You can read it on your own. I'm not really going to read it. Be sure and don't put anything in capital letters like you've been taught before, I'm sure, in high school or other previous colleges, because that indicates that you are yelling, and I will be the first one probably to let you know that that's not appropriate. So if you please don't put everything in caps. And, when you email me or your peers, please go ahead and do it like a regular email. No texting type of format where you're just saying, hey, or, the sentences are not complete. Please make sure that you do that. Participation in the group discussions is a requirement and an integral part of the course. You're expected to make substantial contributions to those discussions. When you're posting the discussion boards or interacting, it says acceptable responses include your expressed opinion, information from readings and other information from research. An appropriate answer would not be something like just I agree, but you want to actually have a significant or substantial type of response to what you're responding back to and the participation. I also discuss or talk a little bit about the discussion forums in the next paragraph. They're going to be graded using the discussion forum rubric, and to make sure that your spelling errors and the syntax, semantics, everything is correct, I would suggest really that you go ahead and write it out first, maybe as a Word document. Have somebody else give you some feedback and let them read it. And this is a really good suggestion for the next few years that you're in college, because you want to make sure that you don't have something that you're not proud of, and you want to make sure that the other students know what you're really trying to say. The forum rubric is in my courses. It's right on the first page, so feel free to look at that. Let's talk a little bit again about the course assignments, course policies. You do have weekly assignments or the discussion forums, as I mentioned before, and those are worth 30% of the grade. We're going to have the group discussions, case studies, writing assignments like it says. Most weeks, I'll provide an assignment maybe in 2 parts that you would have to do, maybe one part on Thursday and the other part on Sunday. Sometimes it'll be different than that, and everything will be due at 11:45. I talked about, in general, your number of words that you're going to be using would be anywhere from 250 to 500. And there's no exceptions to that. And I just wanted to make clear that you understand when everything is due. If you have some sort of a devastating occurrence or some sort of a special circumstance, if you please let me know, and we can do that on an individual basis as far as getting assignments in. But typically, students will just try to go ahead and get everything done, when it's due, and I really, really appreciate that. The CEO paper is going to be interesting. It's worth 20% of your grade, and what it is the purpose is basically to let you be a CEO for the day, if you will. Allows you some creative liberty in doing this paper. And I really want you to, apply some of the concepts that we're going to be using in this course. And you're only going to post that for the faculty instead of everybody else. The scenario that it mentions here is that you have just gotten some sort of prestigious position in the company, and you're finding out that people maybe are not using really good judgment, or are not very healthy, they're not very well. You have a lot of things to overcome. So basically, maybe they're overworked, maybe they're very stressed. So you're going to be constructing a 2 to 3 page paper, and it says double space with 11 to 12 point font, describing your vision for the company. And so the material is originally written by another individual. Be sure and cite that reference or cite that format. You can use either APA, which I prefer, but you could use MLA or some of the other ones if you have preferred that. So you're going to upload that final paper into my courses then. The journals I think we've talked a lot about already. Purpose of obviously is to provide an opportunity for you to reflect upon a personal journey toward wellness and illness. So in week 2, we'll talk about this again. Students choose a dimension of health they would like to improve. So we'll give you a little bit of time to do that. And you can kind of read some of the other things, if you will, please, about the journaling. Basically, you'll be doing the journals every other week. Those are not a weekly assignment. Along with the journal, I do want you to share information. I do not want you to get a real personal aspect into the journal. That's not really what this is meant to be, and I'm certainly no counselor. So you really don't want to get too deeply involved in describing some of a traumatic event or something in this. So I just caution you a little bit about that. Later in the semester, you'll be doing what we call a current event connection. This is worth 10%, and you get to learn to connect with what you're learning in the world around you. So you basically have an opportunity to connect the real world current events with material that you're learning in the course. You'll see why this assignment maybe is important and how it connects to the other items in the class. And it gives you the information in the next paragraph as far as the detail of that assignment. The final is a self-assessment of meeting the SLOs, or the student learning outcomes. We don't necessarily have a formal type of final. And then what you're going to be doing is actually articulating or describing how you met or achieved those SLOs. And I'll let you read a little bit more about that on your own. It's going to be between 500 and 600 words per question, and I want you to be as specific as possible regarding, and using examples about the different things I'll be asking you about. Participation kind of goes without saying, and we talked about attendance and late work, so I'm just going to skip over that. All of the activity that you do is visible by me, and I can go in and see if you have or have not done the assignments. If it's late, everything is date and time stamped. So I'm sure everybody will be getting all their assignments in, and I'll be checking that regularly. The important university dates are here, and then also some of the university policies, especially the honor code, which we value immensely. We don't want you to plagiarize. If you have any accessibility or disability accommodations, it tells you how to do that. If we have any bad weather, obviously university closings as well, and also some suggestions at the bottom as far as the help. This concludes the part about the syllabus, and then I just thought I'd take a minute or so to explain, I think, what I'm going to be doing for the dimensions, and that is the part about being more creative and getting, maybe reading some books, the intellectual section of that. So I hope to be able to fulfill some of those things for myself while we're going through this course. Thank you very much.